Now this first one is multiple choice, so you'll have choices for this. But what I'm looking for is, since this is a fraction, I want to make it not be a fraction anymore. And the way that that works is you would give it a negative exponent. So the negative exponent reciprocates it. Negative just flips over. But again, that would be multiple choice. So you'll be able to pick the end. So these say write in log form. The question is, what's the base? So what is the base number for that one? 2. Leave a little gap. It's going to equal the exponent. That's the point of it. Equals the exponent. So the exponent is x. And if you get those two things in the right spot, there's only one other place for the last item to go. All right, this one, what do we put if it's e? ln. Leave a little gap. It's going to equal the exponent, which is 9. And so y has to go there. 4 and 5 is the same thing, but backwards. The base on this one is 6. It would be 2 to the 7th power equals x. That would be a really big number. That would be 6 times 6 times 6 times 6, 7 times. I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but that would be very large. All right, what's the base for this one? E to the power b, which is weird, equals 54. Good. So you're just getting those in the right place. Okay. These, the answer will either be 1, 0, or x. Okay, like they're just your properties. Here, the a and the log base a cancel, so you just get x. What do you think about this one? 1, they cancel, you just get 1. This one is because the power of 0 gives you 1. This one, they cancel and you get x. This one, 0. That one's 1. That one's x. And that one's x. If log base a of x equals log base a of y, then what can you conclude? X equals y. And I need to delete this off of here from last year. That's that change of base formula, but it's very antiquated. We don't use it anymore because the calculators do log base, so just don't worry about that one. All right, this is your Quizlet. You're looking for the exponent. 2 to what power will give you 16? Or, and you can, count on your fingers. This is base 10, so it's just the number of zeros. Just 2. Square root means a half. 5 to the 3rd gives you 125. Now this one's a little bit tricky, but it is 4. If you take square root of 6 and square it, you would just get 6. Do you get what I'm saying? And then you have to square it again to get 36. So it is squared, which is to the, okay, good. I'm glad that landed. Like, is what I'm saying making sense? You have to square it to get rid of the square root, and then 6 squared is 36. So squared is to the 4. All right, how about this one? 1, good. 14 to the 1 is 14. Here, the ln and e cancel, so 88. That's just like these properties we were doing up here. This would be -2. 7 squared is 49, but it got flipped. 71. Log base 5 and exponential base 5 cancel. And good. 3 cubed is 27, but it's negative because we flipped it. All right, find the inverse. You switch x and y. So I'm going to scribble that out, put y. We're going to switch them. When you get stuck, the question is, what's the base? And listen, this problem is exponential. So our answer should say, what? Let's see. This is what's happening. Half of you are ignoring me because you feel like, oh, I already have it written on my paper. Tune back in. That's exponential. So our answer should say what? Log. This one's log, so the answer should be exponential. Okay, cool. So first I'm going to subtract over the 4. And then I'm stuck. So what's the base? 7. Log base 7. Leave a gap. It should equal the exponent, which is negative y. And then here is the x minus 4. I need to give that a hug so it stays together. Now watch me do this. The easiest way to move over a negative sign is to erase it and just put it on the other side. Okay. And if you write y, 100% full credit. But since we found an inverse, this is technically what it should look like. But again, I'm not going to mark it wrong if you don't put it. It's fine. All right. Switch x and y. This will be x equals log base 9, y minus 2 minus 7. What would you do first to try and get the y by itself? Plus 7, perfect. X plus 7 equals all the rest of that. Then we're stuck, which is fine. What's the base? 9 to the power x plus 7 equals y minus 2. And to get rid of the minus 2, we're going to do plus 2. Don't combine the 7 and the 2. The 7's in the exponent and the 2 is not. So just like put a plus 2. That's the most common mistake, is people put things together that don't go together. Do you guys lose a butterfly for that? No, okay. Butterflies will be safe. All right, expand. How many times are we going to write the word log? 3. 1 for A, 1 for B, 1 for C. Positive in the numerator, negative in the denominator. What's your power for a square root? So it is 1/2 log base 7A. That's the first one. Minus, because the next one's in the denominator, 3 log base 7B. And then still minus, because it's still in the denominator, 2 log base 7C. These are like little puzzles. You're just putting all the stuff in the right spot is all that is. All right. This one, condense. You're only going to write log base 2 one time. What I usually do is draw a fraction bar and then decide what goes where. Positive on the numerator, negative on the denominator. What will go in the numerator for this one? Yep, x to the 9th. Now, I'm not going to put a negative in the problem. This is just telling me that this goes in the denominator. So that x squared plus 5 goes down here. There's not a number in front of that log, so it doesn't have a power to it. It just is. Now, again, don't put a plus in the problem. That's a common mistake there too, is people will put a plus there. It's just telling you it goes on the top. And what does the 1/4 mean? The 4th root. So it looks like a little square root with a 4 out front, x plus 1. I'm going to rewrite that because that looked a little bad. Keep going. So you will need scratch paper for this side. I'm going to try to do them all. I think we can do it. If you get stuck, the question is, what's the base? Okay. But do you remember me saying I can do problems from now until the end of the world and not do one exactly like every single thing you can come up against, because they're all kind of different. I know that's not what you want to hear, but you kind of have to look at it and go, hey, what can I do with it? So everybody look at the first one. We need to keep this rolling here. Do you see this plus sign? That means you're going to multiply. Oh, I'm sorry. I can see it. Do you see this plus sign now? Okay, that means you're going to multiply. So on your scratch paper, we're going to put log base 3, leave yourself a gap, and we're going to multiply those things together. Adding means multiply. So x times x. Good, perfect. Now, this is kind of convenient. Do you see how the outsides would give you a minus 2x and the insides would give you a plus 2x? They're going to cancel. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And then that just equals 3. And I'm stuck. So now what? What is the base? 3 to the what power? 3rd, good, equals x squared minus 4. I'm going to just erase. What is 3 to the 3rd? No. You even get a calculator for this. 3 cubed is 27. All right, now what? Add 4. What is that, 31? And then square root, you get plus and minus square root of 31. Now for the log ones, oftentimes you do have to dismiss the negative answers. It's actually okay to keep it here, because if you were to plug back in, oh no, actually, I was looking at this one. The original problem's up here. Actually, we do need to get rid of the negative one. Get rid of the negative answer. Because if you put in a negative something and then subtract 2, you're going to have a negative result there, and you can't log a negative. So we're going to get rid of that. I was only looking as far as here, but this is the original problem. All right, look at 31. Do you see how that looks super complicated? And you're probably like, that'll be a note from me. If that's the case, you want to do U substitution. You let U, the point of it is to make it look less complicated. That's the point. So you let U equal the worst part of it, which in this case is 3 to the x. And you're going to end up with something you can factor. That's the goal. So when you go to substitute in, This first part is going to be u squared. Stop and let that sink in. Why is it squared? Perfect. 3 squared is 9. All right. And then it would be minus 2u equals 0. Now, it didn't turn out to a trinomial, so I can't do the like draw two parentheses thing. It's just greatest common factor. What can you factor out? U. And you'd be left with u minus 2. I don't know who chose u. It's an official thing, u substitution. Any letter of the alphabet, but anyway, you're going to set these both equal to 0. So you get u equals 0 and u equals 2. You're actually not quite done though, because we found u, but we need x. So you're going to plug this back in. So you get 3 to the x equals 0 and 3 to the x equals 2. Now that first one should bother you. You should be like, hey, hold on a second. Is there any exponent in the world that will give you a result of 0? No. So like, just get rid of it. And then this one, what would you do to both sides? Bless you. What's the base? Thank you. You're going to pick up your calculator and type in log base 3 of 2. How do you get that on your calculator? Math? That's to get you the fraction bar. And which you might need. Go up instead of down because it's so close to the bottom. So you do listen to me. Good job. All right, log base 3 of 2. You're going to do the first 3 that you see. So 0.630. All right, we got to keep moving on because I want to finish all of these. And we have a little bit of shortened time because it's flex. All right, so we're looking at 32. How would you move over that 5? You want to move the 5 over. Divide both sides by 5. So you get e to the power that stuff equals 2/5. Then what? ln, good. ln. Why would we ln both sides? Cancels out. You get 1 minus 4x equals ln 2/5. Then what? We're not at the calculator yet. Put that calculator down. Subtract 1. You get negative 4x equals ln 2/5 minus 1. And if you want to put parentheses around that 2/5 to show that that minus 1 is not part of that, that's not a bad idea. All right, and then one more step. Divide by negative 4. Now here is where you would want to do that alpha y equals thing, because that'll get you that fancy fraction bar. And you want to type it literally exactly like it looks on the paper. So ln 2/5 close parenthesis minus 1 over negative 4. That negative 4 needs this button. This is your negative button. Don't hit the subtract or it's going to tell you error. And you want the first 3 that you see. So 0.4, or did anyone else get 0.479? Yeah. Okay, I need confirmation because I'm a human being and I type things wrong too. So I like to know somebody got the same thing as me. 0.479. All right, number 33. Sorry, I kind of need to keep it moving if we're going to finish them all. Do you see this plus sign? That means good, perfect. So you're going to have log, leave a parenthesis, and we're going to multiply x times x plus 1. Basically, you're just going to distribute the x through there. That'll give you x squared plus 1x. And then the other side's not going to change. Then what? What do you notice? They're the same, so what's going to happen? Oh. Good, they cancel. Go ahead. How did you do the log squared plus x? So whenever it's adding, you multiply. So I multiplied x by x plus 1. So I distributed the x through there. It was the same thing that we did in problem 30. Evacuate. You're going to subtract that 20 over and then factor it. So how is 20 going to split? Yeah, 5 and 4 plus 5 minus, good, perfect. So we would get -5, which we're going to dismiss, and then +4, which we're going to keep. Can't log a negative. Okay, it's going a little bit better. Slightly less nervous. All right, number 34. There's actually 2 ways you can do this. I'm going to go with whatever you guys come up with first. What do you think? Log base what? 1/2. Good. We're going to log base 1/2 both sides. Why would we do that? Why would you log base 1/2? Cancel. Perfect. So you get 7 minus 3x equals log base 1/2 of 4. Then what? Because there's 2 more steps and they're both really easy. -7, good. So it'll be log base 1/2 of 4. And if you want to put parentheses around that 4, it's not a bad idea because that -7 is not going to be part of that. And then last step, divide -3. And if you want to do alpha y equals enter on this one, I think that's a good idea. It'll get you that fancy fraction bar. And you're going to type it exactly like it looks. It should look exactly like it looks on the paper. And you should actually get a whole number, I think, for this one. Do you get a whole number when you typed it? Okay. Yeah, it should come out to a nice number. It shouldn't be a wacky decimal. What'd you get? Type it. Why would you sit there and just watch me type it? Do you think that's how the test is going to work? All right, so 3 is our answer then. All right, number 35. What do you guys think? E, good. E to what power? 5, good. Thank you, Eva, one person. E to the 5th equals x cubed, like the other stuff, right? X cubed minus 2. All right, then what? No, we just got rid of the ln. Why would we ln? Add 2. Do you guys understand that you're solving an equation? The goal is get x by itself. All right, then what? Cube root. Let me show you how to type that. Because it's probably been a minute since you've typed a cube root. You know how the log base is in the math menu? The cube root is also in the math menu. If you ever can't find something, go into the math menu because that's probably where it is. When you hit math, which number is your cube root? 4. Go down to the 4th one, choose that. How do you put E onto the screen? Oh my God, perfect. Second ln, we have 5 and then plus 2. I got 5.318. Thank you for confirmation. I appreciate it. All right, I think we got one more equation here. Then we can do our interest formulas. All right, what would you do first for this one? Good, we're getting there. Divide by 3. So that would give you 5 to the power 7x equals 24 divided by 3. 8. Actually, if you forgot that, you get a calculator for these, so you could always type it in. All right, then what? I heard somebody say it over here. Log 5, good. Log base 5. Why? Why would you log base 5? Why? Cancel it out. So you're going to get 7x equals log base 5 of 8. whatever that is, but the calculator will do it. Then what? Divide by 7. Everybody type that in. That's your answer. And again, when you type it in, it should look exactly like it does on your paper. And it'll just give you the answer. Did you get 0.184? Okay, cool. 0.184. All right, I think these next ones that are the interest formulas. So let's go ahead and write them down. If it says continuously, it's per. No one ever has a problem with that. Spells a word. If it says monthly, quarterly, yearly, then you're going to use the other one. It's P parenthesis. Does anyone remember any part of it? I know this has been a minute, so I'm kind of just fishing here, but does anyone remember what comes next? It's a 1. Good, I'll take that. You remember there's a 1. It's 1 plus. Good, a fraction. I'll take that. R over N to the nth. All right, so let's see what we got for number 37. Which formula are we going to use? The PERT one or the other one? Read through it. Yeah, why would we use the other one? Because it says semi-annually means N is 2. Let's review all the ones that could be. Annually means 1, semi-annually 2, quarterly 4, monthly is 12. Good, okay. So all you have to do is put all the ingredients in. What's P? 10,000. Parenthesis, 1 plus, what's R? Oh, good, 0.055. You have to scooch the decimal point. If you don't, you will catch it because you will get bajillions of dollars. Our answer for this should be like slightly bigger than 10,000, but like not 2 billion. Okay. Over, what's N? 2? And then it's to the power 2 times how much time? 5. Good. Throw that in your calculator. For money, oh, whoops, let me just throw this around. For money, if you want to just do 2 decimal points, that's fine. Some people just put 3, the first 3 that they see because they get used to it. But type it exactly like it looks on your paper. Like just make it look the exact same as it does on your paper and it'll give you the amount. Again, it should be more than 10,000, but not astronomical. What'd you get? Did you get something a little bigger than 10,000? 13,000? Good. So yeah, 13,000 and a little bit. 116 point here. I'll just do 51 for 51 cents. Again, you can put as many decimal points as you want. Put at least 2 since it's money. Cool. We're going to be able to finish this. We're doing good on time. All right, number 38. This one is 2 options. Okay, you inherited this money. There are 2 options. So what you want to do for this problem is do option number 1 and option number 2, and then you're going to circle the bigger one. You want the larger amount of money. Yes. Not telling you to like be a greedy person, but that's what we want. You want the better investment. Okay. So let's do the first one. First, and they're both over 7 years. Option 1 is 6.5% compounded quarterly. Which formula would we use? PERT or the other one? The other one. Good. So it would be your amount, 15,500, parenthesis. Oh, I flipped the paper over. What comes next? 1 plus. Good. 0.065. That's your rate. Over 4. Why is it 4? Quarterly. And it's to the power nth. So 4 times 7. Don't reach for the calculator yet. Let's do the other one. And then you can type them both in at once. All right. The option 2 is 6%. So it's a little less percent, but it's compounded continuously. That means we're going to use PERT. All right. So it's your amount, 15,500. E to the power R, which R for that one, 0.06 times time, which is still 7. It's the same amount of time for both of them. So take a second and plug them both in. And then just in some capacity, you have to pick one, pick the bigger one, either circle it or put a star next to it or say, I want this one or whatever. But in some capacity, tell me which one is the one that you want. Alpha y equals enter. And you should get answers that are kind of bigger than 15,500, but not 4 billion. I got 24,000 and a little bit for the first one. Is confirmation? Okay. And then go ahead and type in the other one. We need to see which one's bigger. Yeah, how do you type E on the calculator? Second element. Good, you guys got that. All right. I got 23,590 and 40 cents. Is anybody else? Okay. 23,000 and a little bit. So which one do you want? Option 1 or option 2? Option 1. So just in some capacity, be like, hey, I want this one. And that is just showing that you read the problem. It's basically what that is. All right, do you remember the population question we did? The population is growing. We just hit 8 billion. That's what this one is similar to. Okay, so in school you learn stuff that you unfortunately don't retain for very long. You get how that works? You learn something and then later on you forget stuff. All right, I like this problem because it's very realistic. This is the function that we're going to use. So we're looking at this right here. So that describes the percentage of information that you remember X weeks after learning it. So letter A, determine how much you remember when it's first learned. How much time went by if you just learned it? None. So you want to plug in 0. Now, you are allowed a calculator, but can I talk you through this one? What's anything to the 0 power? 1 times 80 is 80, and 80 plus 20 is 100. If you literally just learned it, shouldn't you know 100% of it in theory? Does that make sense? Right? Okay. Letter B. How much is remembered after 4 weeks? You're going to plug in 4 for X. Now that you would need a calculator for. So you're going to type this exactly like it looks, but plug in a 4 for the X. And some of you are already typing it, so you're ahead of me. And so again, you want to make it look exactly like it does on the paper. Do you get 32.8? Well, I don't think you can remember 500% of the information. That would be, you might have not put the negative sign. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay. So what that's saying is, come on guys, I only have 10 more minutes. What that's saying is after 4 weeks, you only remember about 1/3 of the information. Does that sound about right? After a month goes by, you're going to remember something, right? But probably not a lot. All right, this one's backwards. You're being given the percentage, how much time passed. So you're going to take this equation, set it equal to 50. So just write the whole thing and set it equal to 50. And that's going to involve like work. We're going to have to actually work. So what would you do to both sides? Minus 20. Good. We're getting there. 80 times 5/2. So, you know, just have to recopy all the stuff. 50 minus 20 is 30. Now what? Divide 80. 30 divided by 80 is, I would just write 3/8. In fact, you could write 30 over 80 because you're right. It's not going to be a nice number. Don't reach for the calculator until the very end. Okay. Now what? The step I'm nervous about, but we'll see what happens. Log base 5/2. Why on earth would we log base 5/2? Cancel it. We got there. I feel good about that now. Like, I feel like we got there. All right. So you're going to have negative 0.5x equals log base 5/2 of 3/8. Whatever, that's fine. We'll type it in the calculator. And then what's the last step? Divide by negative 0.5. So that's what you want to put in your calculator. And that'll give you your answer. Again, when you type it, make it look exactly like it looks on the paper. It should, excuse me, it should look just like that. And then we want to think about what we found. We plugged in the percentage and we solved for what? What is this number representing? Amount of time. And I think it was in weeks, wasn't it? I got 2.140. Can anyone confirm? Okay, cool. Weeks. So what that's saying is after about 2 weeks, you're going to remember half of the information. Does that sound about right? Like logically? Okay. You want it to make sense. And then that last one, what does D say? As time goes by, you're going to remember at least what percentage of information. You won't remember nothing, okay? I'm old and I still remember certain things from the chemistry I took in high school a billion years ago. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know electrons go around the other, like, you're going to remember something. It's not going to be 0. Give yourself more credit than that. What percentage is this person going to remember at least? Look back at this. I'll give you a hint. It's one of the numbers that's in the equation. Why is it 20%? Because I have a justify there. Doesn't it say justify? And you have to use a mathematical justification. If you were to graph it, it's going to do what at 20? There's an asymptote. Perfect. There's an asymptote because horizontal asymptote at 20. I shouldn't put this on the recording, but I'm going to anyway. Can you listen to me? Let's say that plus 20 wasn't there. You would say 0% because why? No, there is one. The horizontal asymptote is at y equals 0. Do you get what I'm saying? Trying as hard as I can to tell you the answers.